See, none of your validation control is going to, which is not going to fulfill your requirement. Then next option is your custom validator. You are dealing with, so far we are dealing with multiple number of validation controls. If none of any of the validation control won't fulfill our requirement, then only the option is custom validator, which is one of the most
Okay.
powerful validator in our ASP.NET. The only validator control which can run in both server side and client side. Okay, we can write our server side code also for this, and as well as we can write our client side code also for this. By using this, we can put out our own conditions, what are the conditions that we are looking for. So on that conditions, we can, like, fulfill our requirement as per our business logic. So for that reason, we used custom validator. So far all the validations are running at, basically there is a no server side code for all these validation controls. What are the controls we deal? That is required field, range field, regular expression. Okay, all these things copy, all these things doesn't have any, you know, kind of information, but only custom validator will have a kind of implementation that server side. Okay, we'll see how we are going to implement a server-side code for the custom validator. Before going to that, let us see what are the different types of properties which are available for the custom validator. Okay, so for example, I would like to take, you know, so just I'm writing like enter your hall ticket number. So just I want to take one text box here. So and as well as I'm going to take a toolbox. From here, I would like to choose my custom validator. Okay. So in this custom validator, just we have the some basic things, right? So ID for custom C validator. Just I make it my ID. Error message. All ticket number should consist of 8 characters. Exactly 8 characters. Say for example, so my hall ticket count contains 8 characters. Okay, just I want to change 4 color to red. Okay, next is here we have a few things whichever one is control to validate. Okay, so what are the control that we are going to validate? We are going to validate this one, right? TXT number. Okay, next just I'm going to copy the existing properties for this. So ID is there, text is there, error message is there, control to validate is there. Okay, here something different is client validation function. The client validation function, which is a new one. Client validation function. This property is used to represent a function whichever is running at client side. Suppose if you want to do an implementation for this custom validator, we can write our own function at the client side. So what are the functions that we write at client side? Just we can declare that name, that information related to the client validation function. So we already spoke about in button controls, we already spoke about on client click. In that we just put only the function name, what are the function we written at the client side. Similarly, the same thing which we have to follow here. Whenever we are going to write a client side function for the custom validator, we just put that function name here, so that that function, whenever our form submit button is there, automatically it rises at the client side, and it provides an either alert or something. If it is correct, it will raises, it goes for further processing, otherwise it raises an error prompt or something, or it stops to proceed for further implementation. This is the one of the important property for custom validator, that is the end validation function. And enable thing, these are all the common things, and validation group, all the things. So nothing is different from existing values. Most of the common things are available here also. So now we have to look into the events. So far we didn't look into the events for most of the validation controls. So but here event plays vital role. I already told you, at server side only the control which works on server side and client side. So here go to the events, and we have an event called server validate. These are all the common events which are available for each and every validation control, but this is only the event which can be available for only custom validator. Let me show you. Yes. So first is server validate. Event is called to perform validation on the server side. This event is called to perform validation on the server side, so we can write our own code at server side. Okay, so how we are going to just double click on this, and automatically we'll get something on this. Here we can get to see what is as per our conditions we can restrict or we can proceed for further, that we can write a code. So what my requirement is, I have an hall ticket number. I need to user need to pass some hall ticket number information. So here I need to validate that kind of requirement with the help of a custom validator. What my thing is, if user is failed to pass 8 characters, then automatically I need to stop my execution. I need to raise my error message. Okay, hall ticket number should always contain 8 characters. That is the message that I am looking for. So that thing I'm going to validate here. Here arguments or server validate event args. This is an object for this class. So this class contains all the input information, what are the input we are looking for. So I would like to write a code suggestion. If args dot value. So what are the value that we are typing in the text box? That value is available in this args dot value. Okay, I want to check length. If length equal to 8, then args dot is valid equal to true. If is valid is true, means which indicates that we are going for further implementation, because nothing goes wrong with this. So if args dot is valid equal to false, means we are stopping for further execution. That is the thing generally. Next, else if the value is not equal to 8, then only we are going to, which is a true condition. Other than this, anything is a false condition for us. For this, is valid equal to false. This is the code which I implemented at server side. Let us execute this form. We can get to understand what is the So name, minimum is 70. Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So total we have a 10. So just let me eliminate the 2. 0, 7, AP, 1. Okay. See, when I submit on this, okay, I got some clicked information. Suppose if I'm using more 2 characters, when I click on this, button is clicked. See here, we got an information. Hall ticket number should consist of exactly 8 characters. So it always looking for 8 characters, right? So because here args dot is valid equal to true, that is the reason where we got that information. Just you can click on this. So when I submit on this, see, args is false. So here what we have to observe is, so generally when we are going to use this one, okay, if args is false, then we don't want to proceed for further implementation. Means I don't want to click on that, I don't want to raise a code and server submit button. Means whenever we are using the submit, click on submit button, so it raises an information because it goes to Argis is valid, but even though it goes to that, so my server side code, my button is code is going to be executed. That we should not do like that. So for this, so here what I used is return statement. When I'm using return statement, it gets out of that execution flow. Let us check what is the. So button is clicked. We should not do like this. So in order to eliminate this type of scenario, so what I'm going to do is, so generally I would like to take one global variable in this example. Int is execution equal to true. Is execution equal to, sorry, not int, bool. I would like to take one global variable. So in this global variable, if my condition is, if args is false, means I would like to assign that variable to false. Now if is execution equal to true, then only I am trying to execute this one. So this I would like to take it as a static. I am going to eliminate this one. So now I am going to execute this one. Let us see like how our execution flows looks like. I'm clicking on the submit button. So my is execution is it is in false. Here I'm checking. If false means, so what are the code that I have in this one which is not existed. Say for example, if I remove this two, if I click on this submit button, then only I got a prompt message. So why? Because it is in true. So here you can write a condition. is execution equal to true. Now if we give a correct input information, then only your button click is going to be executed. What are the code that is available in your button click? So execution. So this is incorrect, right? So now I would like to make it to correct. Now when I click on the submit button, why? Okay, the characters are 6 only. So just I want to make it 0. When I click on the submit button, see, now your button click is executed. In this way, we we can implement our own code at server side. We can do the programming with the help of a custom validator. Any queries at server side implementation? Hello?
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
queries on server side implementation?
No, just this custom validator.
Yes.
No.
No.
Actually, I just have to practice all this because it's too much, right?
Yes, yes. That's why I intentionally made this to dragging instead of going to put more classes, then it is finally
Yeah.
burden on your head. That is the thing.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
That's true also. Yeah.
Next is
Okay.
this is the way how we are working with our server side, right? So today, we are left with two more validators. Once we done
Okay.
this once we done this week, we would like to stop our course for further. So then we'll go with an once you're done with your practice, then only we'll go for further. So at least basic practice also required. At least you can start with some ASP.NET. Then you can do console programs later also, no issues on that. But just you can have a practice, then it is easy for you. Okay,
Yeah,
that.
because console programs I will not be using as of
Yes,
now, so
yes.
that's okay. Yeah.
So now we have a client side implementation, like how we are going to work with the client side with this, a particular custom validator. So every client side implementation that we have to work with a script, script tag, right? We already discussed. So this is a script tag
Right.
where we can place in section of head. So I place one method that is nothing but validate length is one method. Okay.
It's
Here
a
also,
JavaScript method, right?
yes, it's a JavaScript method. So here you can observe this. It contains two arguments, source and as well as nothing but. Okay. However, we have two things here in server side. Similarly, it is a replica in client side, source and args. Okay.
Okay.
So in by using args, here also we have a length, args dot value dot length equal to 8. If it is equal
But
to
this is a custom function, right? You can make it without arguments also or anything.
no, no,
It
no,
can be
no,
anything.
no, no, no. These two parameters are required at any moment. That we should know from where we are getting an information and what is the information.
So
You can
every
change.
JavaScript function?
Not every JavaScript function. I'm talking about custom validate. Whenever we are implementing custom
Custom
validate,
value. Okay, okay. Got
so
it.
you can change this name, but the thing is, it requires two arguments. So two argument. One is the source from where we are getting information, and other is args. What is the information that user is passing? Okay.
Okay.
Here also we have an is valid. So suppose if this condition is true, then it gives is valid equal to true. If it is false, then args dot is valid is equal to false itself. So in such a way, just we can make use of one property which is available at custom validator. So that property is nothing but go to the properties of custom validator, and in that custom validator we have a client validation function is one of the property. Just paste the method name, whatever the method that we have, just put it here. For time being, just I'm going to execute this function. Okay, so I already told you that if we have a server side code and client side function, if we have a server side function and as well as a client side function, our first priority is, means our coding first priority is client side function. First it executed client side function, then only it hit to the server side. Okay, first priority is always for client side and next priority is always for server. Okay, so just I'm going to pass some inputs here. So I pass some information. See, my server side code wouldn't execute it. Okay, how can we know whether server side code is executed or not? Because we already have a breakpoints. Our breakpoints is not at all going to be hit. Why? Because we have a client side function. Client side function first executed and it prompts a message that it is an invalid input, right? So that's the reason. Say for example, if I'm using, if I click on this one, then only, means my client side function allows me to do something because it is a correct input. There is a reason it will hit to the server side and the server side is executed and it provides an output for us. I hope this will be pretty clear for you how we make use of client side function and how we make use of a server side function with the help of a custom validator.
Okay.
Okay. Next validation control here is compare validator. Actually, I supposed to start compare validator prior to custom validator, but I thought that that was covered, but which is not covered. Okay, this is also one of the validator. Okay, it is used to compare the existing input value to a current control, whichever your user is going to whichever a user is going to use compare validator. Okay, here properties. Scenario, we'll see the scenario, in which scenarios we can make use of this compare validators. Scenario means if we are using a sign up form, that form asks for a password as well as confirm password. In these scenarios, your first entered password and confirm password should be same. Should be same. Then we can should be same. Then here, in order to validate these types of requirements, then we can make use of compare validator. You got it right? So generally whenever we have a sign up form,
Yeah.
we have a password and as well as we confirm password. So your password and confirm
Yeah.
password should be same. if something goes wrong with your confirm password, if both are different, then automatically it raises a prompt. Not only in that situations, and we have some other situations. Generally in e-cart applications or shopping malls applications. Generally, you have a suppose when we are applying a discount. Okay, at the time of applying a discount, suppose if a shopping mall is not like allow us to do more discounts, like suppose I have a 5 items, so my five I eligible for 5 items for discounts. Okay, I'm ineligible to take 6 items for discount price. So at that time also we can make it. So we are going to compare. Our maximum size is 5. So 5 at the time of if user is going to be entered some information, so automatically it is taken in that and it shows a prompt where 6 item is entered, which is invalid for this discounted prices. Okay, please verify like terms and conditions. Like that will prompt a message. Our maximum value is 5. If user is trying to force to add one more item into the cart, then it doesn't allow us to do further because maximum discounted price items is 5 in this scenario. At that point of scenarios also we can make use of compare validator. Okay. So let us discuss the properties which are associated with this. So here we have ID property same and as well as text property and RMSS control to validate, and here we have a different one. Control to validate and as well as control to compare. This is also one of the important property. Means we should know control to validate, which control we are going to validate, and other is control to compare. Means I have a I have a password and I have a confirm password. If I apply my custom like my compare validator for my compare like re-enter password control, then from which I want to compare it from enter your password field, right? So that thing, so means to which control, from which control we are going to compare to our current control, that we have to provide that control ID here in this control to compare. This property accommodates control ID of which accommodates control ID of which user is going to compare with an existing control value, with an existing control value. Next, enable client script. This is also there. Set focus and validation group. This is also there. Let us so let us like work out on enter your password. Okay. So just I want to take a text box, confirm your password. This is txt password. Confirm password. Okay. Here I would like to take compare validator. Just change the ID. So control to validate. So txt confirm password. Here control to compare is nothing but txt password. So from here we are going to compare the input value of your password. Next is control to validate. Here I am using txt confirm password. Okay, display and all these are common. Okay, so next one more important property is value to compare. Value to compare. Here, this is the thing. So generally we have different values to compare it. So this property this property indicates that value to compare against the control, which means we have to provide symbols either equal or not unequal or something. We have to provide like equal or not equal. Okay, so by default it is an equal state. We don't need to bother about this thing. Okay, we have to provide an error message. Password is identical with confirm password is identical with password. Okay, here I changed the color to red color and I click on this button. So just now I'm going to execute this one. No events are not at all required for this. Only events are required only for the custom validator. So just I want to pass some inputs here. Suppose I gave a, like you can change the property, like we have 1 2 3 1 2 3, say for example if I give 4 it is giving an input, if I give 3 it's okay, if I click okay, so then it is hit at server side and our button is executed. See, in order to restrict our like text box into a password field, then we have one more property, that is nothing but text mode. In text mode we have a single line and we have a multi-line, many things, colors and this. You can take a password as a text mode and here also password as a text mode. Then automatically our text will be converted into stars format, that were unreadable format from the user perspective.
Okay.
It's okay. Suppose if I get something, it's not at all taken. So click on submit. Okay. This is about custom, like sorry, confirm copy validator. Okay. Any doubts?
No.
No. So final one is we have one more validator, that is nothing but validation summary. Okay. Give me 2 minutes. Validation summary is used to provide entire summary for a particular page. Okay, this notifies or this informs to the end user what are the validations that are failed. All this information is provided with the help of a validation summary. This control is used to summarize all the validations information for a particular form. Okay. For example, scenarios. If we have 10 controls in a form, all information, if we have if we have 10 controls in a form, all failure information is provided at the bottom of a form in a summary way. In a summary way. Okay, here all these are the common ID, text, error message. So here we don't want to deal with the control to validate.
Okay. So all the it's going to validate all the buttons, all the controls with one button, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So here I want to deal with this one. So generally here I want to add one more row, insert row below. Just I want to put up my validation summary. Here I can go to the properties. So here see ID is common, border of relevance, display mode, enable client script is there. So no control to validation is there. So here instead of that we have one important one, display mode. Display mode. This property is used to declare in which way validation summary is going to display to the end user. See here we got in a one format, right? Like bulleted format. This is a bullet list. And if you want a list, normal list, it is coming like this. If you want to change this, if you want that in a single para, so that like this we can get it. So in this way, in order to make our alignment for all of our validation informations, that we can make use of display mode. And the rest of the things, enable client script, set focus on error, all are common for this controls. 7, and which is not required. Okay, let me execute this one. No events for this, means by default events are available for this. So when I click on this button, automatically all, see whatever the failure scenarios, that is displayed here. Say for example, if I pass something, I got something, mobile numbers and BTech percentage 3, altogether complete, password 1, and this one too. So when I all this information, when I click on this, all this information is provided here. So which is displayed as a summary, means this many number of failure conditions are available in this form. We can get to know with the help of validation summary. Okay, 90% of scenarios we won't go with validation summary, because anyway beside the control only we are going to display this information, right? There is a no scope to
Yeah.
implement at bottom. So, but you can learn if there is a situation you don't want to put it aside, like after your control, then this is an alternative that you can make use of it.
Okay.
Okay. So this ends your validation controls. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we gonna continue, or you want me to ping him?
Uh,